Welcome back to the Aesthetic Business Masters, the podcast where we explore what it really takes to grow and scale an aesthetic clinic in today's competitive world. Whether you're a solo practitioner or leading a team of 20, we're here to bring you real insights, expert interviews, and actionable strategies to help you grow your business with confidence. I'm your host, Nicole Montgomery, and today we're diving into a hot topic that's reshaping how clinics connect with their patients: AI-powered communication. Our guest today is Luca DiCastro, Sales Manager at Podium Australia. Luca is an expert in digital transformation for clinics and was instrumental in launching Podium's AI patient coordinator known as Avery. She works closely with aesthetic businesses to help them boost inquiry response times, increase bookings, and finally get on top of the communication chaos that so many clinics face. Luca, welcome to the show. Let's start with you talking a little bit about yourself and Podium and where it all began.
Awesome. Hi, Nicole. Thanks for having me today. Yeah, my name's Luca. I've been at Podium 4.5 years. We've been around since 2014. And essentially, Podium started as a review solution via SMS. A bit of background, what they noticed when they started Podium, our founders, Eric and Dennis, that customers were texting back the review link via SMS. And we could really open up SMS as a channel for businesses to communicate with their customers. Since then, we've just seen a huge product market fit for something like Podium, where we can bring all lead sources into one centralized inbox and then layer on different things around integrations and AI.
Amazing. I can't wait to hear more about this AI, but you work really closely with many aesthetic clinics within Australia and New Zealand. Can you tell us what you hear speaking to business owners and their teams?
Oh, there's probably a couple of really key things that we hear day in, day out when talking to different aesthetic clinics. The first one is definitely not enough staff and trying to find more staff for their teams. And then the second one is time. Everyone is super time poor and making sure they're spending the employees' time in the right sort of area is super critical to making sure they're successful as a clinic.
Look, it's really hard when you've got so many platforms: email, phone, Instagram. Some clinics have TikTok, Facebook, and trying to manage everything is impossible. And then I think from a marketing perspective, it's really hard when you invest, a lot of money into content creation and then nobody's responding to messages, across any of the lead generating avenues. So with your experience, how does Podium help with marketing and messaging from all different platforms?
So I think Podium allows you to really understand where your leads are coming from and what leads are converting. Podium will allow you to decrease your client acquisition cost. I think you spend a lot of money on marketing. And so what Podium does as a lead funnel and management tool is allows you to respond to leads faster in one centralized inbox and really give you data and visibility over all your different lead sources in one central location, but also increase speed to lead. I think it's very common that a lot of inquiry happens over the phone during business hours, but it's after hours, sort of capturing eyes, whether it's on Instagram or on your website, turning those eyes into conversation, and then having a tool that allows you to actively engage and respond with those inquiries to get the relevant information that you need for your clinic to make sure that the team can then book in that consult with that inquiry.
And when you say all, what does that entail?
So Podium essentially will bring every lead source. So phone, email, text message, Instagram, Facebook, a contact us form into one central location. So we're really sort of harnessing the power of every lead channel that a business has and bringing that into one centralized platform, making it really easy for the team to respond to those inquiries in one place. I think having to look at all the different platforms, generally we see clinics will have sort of a marketing team or a social media person answering the social media inquiries and really just sending that inquirer a link to the website. So probably not being able to engage with that inquiry that the same as what someone in clinic would be able to respond and give the relevant information.
That's incredible. I don't even know how I didn't know that this was a functionality and possible. And about to be mind blown, I'm sure. You obviously going to talk to us today about AI, which has really exploded. It's incredible how fast, ChatGPT's come in and now it's like Google for everybody. What's new in the world of AI that's relevant to aesthetics clinics, and what should clinic owners be paying attention to?
Yeah, I mean, AI, it's definitely the buzzword of the moment. I think clinic owners excited by AI, but also quite scared because they're not quite sure where to start or how to implement it into, the clinics. I think what we find is there's lots of different level of AI. So you can have AI that's very generalized or sort of bot-like in terms of its responses. So I think being aware of, I guess, what level of AI you're getting into is definitely important when implementing AI into your clinic, because it can deter or reduce the amount of leads coming in if it's not trained to capture the right information when it's providing the information to the people inquiring with the business.
I feel like that can happen with real people too.
Yes.
Maybe having a bad day. And you spoke to us earlier about one of the challenges that clinic owners have is staffing. Can you tell us about Avery and what Avery is and how it makes a difference, and is a tool that is relevant to aesthetic practice managers, clinic owners and alike?
Yeah, definitely. Look, why we really get excited about a tool like Avery, we call her Avery. You can call her what you like. Some people call her Bella or Anna. She is very conversational, but the cool thing about Avery is she is specifically designed for the aesthetics and cosmetic space. So she comes fully prepared with all the right information that you would expect a fully trained clinician to have about different procedures and what procedures are best to offer for certain concerns, which is really exciting. She is a 24/7 employee that works around the clock, but where she really differentiates from many other AI tools is she will respond to every single lead source that we have. So you can think from the website and text messaging, she will take over that conversation and provide the information the client is after, but also direct that client to provide the information that we need to then book in a consultation for the clinic. She will respond to Instagram, Facebook, even phone calls and missed calls. So anytime you have a missed call in the clinic, Avery will take that conversation to two-way SMS and make sure that lead is not, I guess, slipping through the cracks. You've worked so hard to get that inquiry through initially. So we want to make sure that Avery is then getting the information that you need. And then the second level to Avery is Avery actually engages on cold leads. So if someone stops responding to Avery, we can actually set up certain parameters for her to follow up people if they haven't responded in a certain amount of time, making sure that you have got that additional touch point, really saving the clinic admin team time, but also, again, capitalizing on all the marketing that you're doing by making sure every lead is getting that nice follow-up touch point.
That's incredible. And how hard is it to implement?
Well, that's the really exciting part about Avery. We have a dedicated team of local support based here in Australia. My colleague George and myself will set Avery up for the clinics we work with. We'll work with the clinic owner to set some parameters, find out what qualifying questions they want Avery to ask, and then it's off and away, really.
Wow, that just sounds too good to be true, too easy.
Yeah, I think Avery is definitely the best employee you will ever have in your business.
Definitely. And obviously you hear the feedback from clinics who have implemented Avery and have, the AI employee, I guess, set up and converting clients for them and nurturing their clients. What is the feedback that you're hearing?
Two things that we mainly hear. I think time is probably the thing that costs the most in the clinic. So saving time has been a massive advantage of Avery. Again, capitalizing on that, all the marketing efforts. But also I think some of the funny feedback that we've had is that Avery's actually received a few Google reviews for her excellent service.
That's so cool. And what about for patients? Like I know myself, I'm so busy, and when it comes time that I think, oh crap, I have to organize this appointment or, do that or whatnot, often it is out of hours. And if that clinic doesn't have an online booking system or, a process, it can be really hard to call and, organize your schedule 9 to 5. So I think I would love this, but from a user perspective, I mean, I guess you've had really great reviews for her customer service, but have you had any other feedback from clients that have used Avery? Have they noticed that it's not a real human?
No, we haven't had any feedback like that. So yeah, Avery is part of the team. Some people will call up and ask for Avery when they're talking or say they were speaking with Avery, and you can hear, or you can sort of, the feedback is they have a little giggle on the other end of the call. So yeah, I think the team find it quite funny when a client refers to Avery as a fully fledged team member, but she's just an extension of the team. Yeah.
That is so cute and so cool. It's like Siri, which some people call Suri, and they're different names for their phone. And if you say, I love you, Siri, she says back, I love you too.
Yeah. So yeah, Avery's very good. She always respond to everything and make sure that if someone's not ready for a treatment, to let them know that, we're always here when you need. And yeah, always has a nice professional conversational response. You'd have no idea. You just think it's a really polite team member for that clinic.
Which is what everybody wants. So that's amazing and a dream for a clinic owner. And if there is a clinic owner listening to the podcast or coming to one of the events and they're curious about how they can leverage AI and implement Avery into their clinic or speak to Podium, what would be the normal process and workflow to start implementing something like this?
Yeah, so basically we would sit you down and run you through a demonstration of the platform. You actually get to test Avery out yourself. We do have sort of a dummy Avery account set up for you to utilize and throw some interesting questions at her. So you can actually experience that live, which is really exciting. But the setup process is pretty simple from that point. I think probably my top tip as well for when you're looking into AI for your business is any AI solution that you are looking for, localized support is so important to make sure that you've got the infrastructure there to support any AI tool. AI is not perfect, so AI learns as it goes. We build a really awesome industry-specific tool for businesses. We put parameters around that. But as conversations happen with your clinic and your patients, Avery will only get better and better, and making sure that you've got localized support to enhance and make sure that infrastructure is there to give your patients the experience that you want them to have is very, very important.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that you've seen such incredible growth over the last 4 years. Where do you see Podium going over the next 4 years?
Oh, great question, Nicole. Look, it's almost a bit scary to say this, and I'm sure people have seen it around, but definitely AI voice is something that the US have been playing with for a very long time and is very close in Australia to some degree in the different industries. But yeah, I would say AI voice. And then second to that, there's a world where AI can function in more than just your sort of lead conversations and actually take over, other areas of the business like your marketing efforts as well, which is really, really exciting because those can be, pretty high expenses for clinics as well.
Absolutely. And some different, marketing activities don't necessarily have a high ROI, but are considered, important touch points along the journey. So, wow, that's incredible. And Luca, can you tell us how Podium phones differ from a regular clinic phone?
Yes, definitely. So Podium phones is something our clinics are absolutely loving. It gives them visibility over who's calling the clinic, if they're a previous client or a new client. And what it actually does is Podium phones will not only record and transcribe phone calls, but it will also AI summarize the calls. So every call is summarized in 3 to 6 dot points, giving the team a really awesome opportunity to quickly look at any history of phone calls. And then when answering that call can provide a more premium level of patient experience because they've got history. This works so well in busy clinics when you have a couple of people managing the front desk because they're able to pick up a conversation another team member has had and have all the information ready to go. So they provide that client feels like a VIP and really important to the clinic. And when we're trying to drive repeat business and make sure we've got clients coming back to see us, this is a really awesome tool.
And does Podium help when the client has converted and they're in their client journey? Does Podium do summaries post consultation, or can it be implemented to help along the life cycle of the client throughout their treatment journey?
Yeah, definitely. So Podium, you can add different tags on each client. Podium's also really handy. I think a lot of our clinics report that they will do a treatment like Botox or filler. And if the client's happy with that treatment, they're not coming in for that 2-week review. And so they're never getting those after photos from that client. And then when they pick up the phone to call that client to check in to see how they're feeling and if everything went okay, that call's going unanswered. Podium then allows the clinic to SMS that patient through the previous communication and check in with them and ask for any photos so they can add those to the client file as well. So it definitely helps with that follow-up post-treatment when you can't catch someone on the phone, because it's very easy to quickly shoot over a photo via SMS.
That is just such a huge burden. I used to work in clinic, and doing follow-up calls, post-surgery was a day job. From one surgical list, it would literally take a whole day calling people and then calling them back and playing phone tag. And so that's incredible. And then obviously the non-surgical space is the same. And personally, if I pay for a treatment and, have what I would consider a more expensive treatment, I expect somebody to follow up and check that I'm okay post-treatment. I get a little bit disappointed if they don't.
Completely agree with you there. But generally they're calling when you're, at work or, unable to answer the phone. So being able to take that conversation to probably a more preferred method for most people these days and actually still having the interaction with the clinic is just an awesome tool to have.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I always get the calls at the worst times. Like I said, it's during business hours, never when I want to be called. If anything, it's annoying. You don't have time to talk. And I know my daughter or my children, it's like someone calls, why are they calling? They freak out. Even me. And then I'll be like, Ella, why are you not answering? And she'll be like, can't you just text? What's wrong with you? Like there's something wrong with me, as if, I don't know. But yes, it's definitely different generations. And I notice more and more people preferring text. It's less confrontational.
Definitely. Also, for re-engagement, SMS is by far the best tool that any clinic can use to re-engage clients. And doing it strategically is really where they see the most cut through. So with re-engagement, what you don't want is a spray and pray approach and sort of sending a blanket message to your whole client database or a portion of it. What we do at Podium and our account managers specialize in is making sure that the strategy behind your bulk SMS marketing is airtight and you've got a really, pointed strategy for each type of client that you have to make sure that you're sending the most relevant SMS to those clients so that you have higher engagement on those bulk messages, because you do have to pay for SMS marketing. So you want to make sure that you're getting the return on investment, and being really strategic with that outreach is, super valuable.
Absolutely. And it sounds like you do a lot of hand holding, which is amazing because, a great clinician is great at clinical. Their expertise is in clinical medicine, not in necessarily marketing or AI or automation or all of these things that you specialize in. So I think that support, like you mentioned earlier, is imperative, and wonderful that you're able to do that.
I think the two main things I've learned working in software for the last almost 5 years is, one, don't build a custom CRM. I've heard so many nightmare stories over that. There is something out there that will suit your clinic. Definitely don't be tied to someone who builds the CRM for you. And then number two, local support by far is the most important thing when implementing software. Most people don't think to ask about where the support is based, but having a one-to-one account manager, you have their mobile number, an email address, and an ability to book into their calendar at any point is by far the most valuable thing or the most important thing that you need when bringing on a new software into the business.
Such great advice. Thank you, Luca.
Yeah, very exciting time. Still a lot more to do and work through. But I think in terms of the industry that we're in with Avery, we've only just started. We've only had Avery in Australia since December. Avery's been in the US for about a year and a half. We wanted to make sure that it was well tested before it was brought to Australia. And we've had such amazing response from our current clients with Avery and the new clients jumping on board with Avery as well. So yeah, we're just really getting started with a solution like this in Australia.
That is so cool. And if people want to learn more about Podium and Avery or speak to you, how do they do that?
So you can jump on the Podium website, podium.com.au, and watch the demo, put your details in, and one of the team will give you a call. Myself or George can jump on and take you through a demonstration, but also we'll be attending a couple of events over the next week. We'll be attending the Aesthetic Business Masters in Melbourne next week. So George will be there for that. So if anyone's coming along to those events, we will be there. Come say hi. We're happy to take you through a demonstration.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Luca. It's been such a treat, and I really hope we get to learn more about Avery as she evolves and as AI continues to evolve, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, Nicole.
Luca has been such an eye-opening conversation. It's clear that AI isn't just a buzzword, it's a practical tool that's helping clinics grow smarter, not harder. For anyone listening who's interested in learning more about Avery or Podium's suite of tools for aesthetic businesses, we'll pop the links in the show notes. And if you loved this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your team. Until next time, thanks for tuning in to the Aesthetic Business Masters, where smart strategy meets aesthetic success. Be bold in beauty and brilliant in business. Thanks, guys. Ciao.